We need Lenzi, the housewife historian, to give us a breakdown. I feel like she knows. I definitely know, and I'm naming them in this video. I'm giving you guys, start to finish, what transpired between Teresa Giudice from the Real Housewives of New Jersey and her co-host Melissa Feaster from the Namaste Bitches podcast. As you guys know, there was allegedly a confrontation that happened way back in November at Bravocon. Some of the details on that surrounding is that Melissa Feaster joined Teresa Giudice at Bravocon, but she was late the day that they were supposed to start out with their Namaste Bitches booth where they were selling merch. Teresa didn't know whether she should go on the stage or whether she should wait for Melissa, and there was this whole debacle. But anyways, allegedly Louis and Melissa Feaster have a falling out. Now, this is a really important part of the story. Melissa Feaster, in becoming a co-host with Teresa Giudice on the Namaste Bitches podcast, had developed a friendship and was DMing back and forth with a lot of Teresa's fans and bloggers and influencers and people in the Bravo community online. So she sort of built a rapport with them. When everything happened with Louis Morales, and she told them about how he told her that she was cheap and she shopped at Amazon and his wife was wearing Christian Dior and she was an embarrassment and yada yada yada, they took offense to it. And also, because this fight transpired, either Tamara Judd saw the argument happen or Melissa Feaster told her about it, because then she told Margaret Josephs, who told Jessica, who's Louis' assistant, and that's why when they came back from Bravocon, they had to do an emergency podcast. That episode has since been deleted. If you watch that episode, you can see Melissa Feaster giving a lot of passive-aggressive comments about things and making jabs. If you know, you can pick up on it now. In my opinion, Melissa Feaster was not welcomed at Bravocon like she had anticipated because of the fact that she's not a housewife, and housewives are very territorial. They didn't even want Teddy Mellencamp coming with Tamara Judd. Of course, they're not going to want her to be with Teresa during Bravocon. They feel like you need to be a housewife. Also, I think that Jennifer Aydin was sort of aiming for a spot as Teresa's co-host because for whatever reason, she doesn't need the money, but she was doing like meet and greets with Dolores and Teresa and going to Philly and doing events and things she didn't have to do because she didn't need the money. But if you remember, the 2 T's in a Pod podcast came out, and then also there was the 2 J's, which was Jackie and Jen Fessler, and I think that Jennifer Aydin wanted a piece of that with Teresa Giudice, and so she probably wasn't super nice to Melissa Feaster. We also saw text messages where they were sort of threatening Melissa Feaster because they had footage of her smoking and or drinking at Bravocon, and they were like, "You're a nutritionist, this isn't a good look for you." I never really understood that. Regardless, that's the original fallout, okay? So Melissa Feaster tells all of the girls all about what happened. Fast forward, you have Teresa's, right-hand bloggers, the people that she drops all of her stuff to, the cousins, whatever you want to refer to them as. They went and did a Patreon, and they were not so nice about Melissa Feaster. So the people that had been supporting Melissa Feaster due to her relationship with Teresa Giudice felt like the cousins should be supporting anyone that's part of the team, right? And on top of this, they also felt like the cousins were using things that Teresa was telling them, even though it put Teresa in a bad light, they were using it anyways for clicks and for likes and for their Patreon. They didn't like that either, and they wanted Teresa to put her foot down about a couple of things. And I don't know what really transpired behind the scenes, but entered the picture was James Lentard. And when he entered the picture, things went boom, and there was like no return. So you have Melissa Feaster, who has shared these things that have happened to her, at the hands of Louis, and the things that he said to her that were very hurtful. And this kind of stews for a couple of months, and, different things are said on the podcast. They have to do the emergency podcast. And then fast forward, the falling out between all the bloggers, Melissa's in a bad position because she pretty much helped ignite this whole thing because of what the cousins were saying about her. But at the same time, now Teresa and her attorney are like, you need to show your allegiance to us. Like, you need to unfollow these accounts. You cannot comment. You can't like these people's things. But these were the same people that were supporting her. So that was very, I think, rough for her because she didn't know which way to go. Now, in light of the Namaste Bitches live event, allegedly for months, the ladies were truly just holding out to get through it because of this episode that's going to be about the Namaste Bitches live event. I was actually in attendance in this event, and Teresa and Melissa were acting like they were literally sisters, like they loved each other so much. So it's going to look be like an epic fail for an episode to air over a podcast that doesn't exist anymore. It's basically the same thing as Teresa and Louis wearing the Namaste Bitches merch and the podcast not existing. Now, I think that there was a little bit of miscommunication towards the end, because I do think Melissa Feaster told her people that it was just a break that they were taking, but then Teresa came out with an entirely new podcast called Turning the Tables, and it's the same exact production company that was producing Melissa and Teresa. So that's a little bit crazy there as well. So yes, there's tension behind the scenes. Yes, this all started allegedly because of Bravocon, and it just stewed, and things continued to build and build and build, and entered too many people into the mix. And you have a lot of people, I think, giving Teresa not the best advice sometimes. And so it was that essentially was the end of their podcast. They didn't really end it, but they ended it, if you know what I'm saying. I know it's a lot to take in, so if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I love to